Happening now, major uncertainty in the Middle East after the stunning collapse of the Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria, one of the most brutal dictatorships in the world. We're just now seeing new drone footage from inside Damascus after the fall. You can see celebrations on tanks there. This is our first look at this. We also learned overnight that Assad himself granted asylum inside Russia. With us now was former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under President Obama, Joel Rubin, and CNN military analyst, retired Lieutenant General Mark Hertling. And General, let me just start with a simple question. Everything happened so quickly here. How did the Assad regime fall this fast in your mind?
In my view, John, having watched this area for a long time, because it was part of our operations in Iraq, this has been roiling since 2014. And in fact, over the last 50 years, if you talk about not only Assad, but his father. There is turmoil inside of the country with the citizenry. I think part of the reason that the rebels were able to move so quickly is because they had support of people in the various cities they were moving through. These are people who had been barrel bombed and atrocities committed against them. So when you get the support of the governed, the citizens of the country, and you see a crooked dictatorship in charge, and you have allies fleeing, like we're talking specifically Russia and Iran, and you have a lack of support militarily from other groups that were helping the Assad regime, it was only a matter of time. And it did happen quickly, and very few shots were fired. So that tells me that the support of the people and the lack of, basic governing by the Assad regime is what caused all this to happen so quickly.
Joel, what does it tell you about the ability of Russia and Iran to project power around the world?
You know, John, it's in retreat. That's what it says. There's a very clear example right in front of our eyes as you're describing, as General Hertling is laying out. Iran beat a retreat from Syria because it does not have the capacity any longer to support that regime, and clearly the regime fell. Iran had sent, remember, Hezbollah fighters in over a decade ago, and now those Hezbollah fighters have been decimated by Israel in the war of the past year, the war that Hezbollah unwisely entered into after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. So they had no resources to spare. And of course, Russia, they're asking North Korea for troops. They're the last country in the world to be able to extend further into a theater like Syria. And so they didn't. And Assad was left alone, and he did not have the capacity to defend himself, and that's why he's in Moscow right now.
General Hertling, if anyone has experience about what happens when a brutal dictator falls and the chaos that can rise up, it's you. I mean, we saw something like this in Iraq when Saddam Hussein was pushed out of power, but then we saw these militant groups rise up in Iraq. What might happen in Syria now?
Yeah, the two words that scare me the most, John, are regime change. Whenever you say that, there are things like statues being pulled down and people celebrating and celebratory gunfire. And it is exactly like Iraq and some other places that I've seen, like Romania, even when Ceausescu was replaced, several other countries. And no country is unified in their approach to leadership and government in the Middle East throughout. There's always distinctions between religions, cults, tribal groups, and followings. I think it's a good thing of what we're seeing right now, but I think we have to wait a while longer to determine whether or not this is going to be great. And there's going to be a lot of turmoil over the next couple of weeks with all of this. You see the happiness now. Now we have to see whether or not this new government or the rebels can execute a new government and have the electricity go on and the trash collected and all the things that governments do. Will it happen, and will the people in a very diverse population of religions and cultures be happy with what happens?
Joel, President-elect Trump put out a long statement on social media. I just want to read you the last couple lines. He says of what's happening in Syria, the United States, he goes, it's not our problem. The United States should have nothing to do with it, he says. This is not our fight. Let it play out. Do not get involved. How possible is that, do you think?
You know, John, look, that's a misread. Now, the president-elect, he is right to suggest that we should not be sending troops, and nobody is. We have 900 troops alongside our Kurdish allies in eastern Syria that are engaged in a very important counterterrorism mission against ISIS. But what we do need to be mindful of is that we have regional allies, Israel, Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq, all neighboring Syria. There's Turkey neighboring Syria as well. We have a critical vision here for how to get peace and stability in the region, but we won't do that if we turn our backs on it. So we need to engage. We need to have our diplomats out there speaking to these allies. We need to try to figure out a program with this new potential Syrian leadership of how to resettle the millions of Syrians that are sitting in refugee camps around the world and ultimately provide stability there. This is a keystone country. This is the crucial point. This is a keystone country in the Middle East. It needs to be stable for the region to be stable. If it is allowed to fail because the U.S. turns its back on it, then we're all going to pay a price here.
All right, Joel Rubin, General Mark Hertling, great to see you both. Thank you very much.